Hi everyone. So this is part 3 of your Unit 4A presentation. And today we're going to be talking about the demographic transition. Okay. This is basically the transition from high birth and death rates to low birth and death rates in a society. And it's the movement of a country from a less developed country to a more developed country, okay, from pre-industrial to that industrialized economic system. So the first thing that happens is death rates decline, and we're going to talk about why that happens. And then what happens is later-ish, birth rates decline. All right. We do have 4 stages: pre-industrial, transitional, industrial, and post-industrial. These are now referred to as something differently. There are other names for them as well. So you guys are going to be doing an activity in class tomorrow or the next time I see you that has these named as different things. So the names aren't as important as knowing what happens within each stage. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we're going to draw on this. So we're going to have our birth rates as red, as you can see here. Okay, our death rate is going to be black, and our overall human population is going to be green. Okay, so what we're going to do out here is we're going to start in the pre-industrial. Then we have this crazy transitional phase. And then we have our industrial. And then we have our post-industrial. There we go. Okay. So what happens is in our first stage, we're going to start out with our crude death rate, just to keep it nice and morbid, apparently. Oops. This black. So our death rates are high. So you have deaths, go up and down depending on what's going on in that area. And then you also have your birth rates that are high. Okay. Usually they're high to keep up with these death rates. Our overall human population is low, and it's pretty stable. You obviously have increases and decreases in your population. Okay, so your crude birth rate is high, your crude death rate is high, and your population is steady, and it's low. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go down here to our pre-industrial. Okay, so our birth rate is high, our death rate is low. So 2 reasons that birth rates are high. Okay, and we're going to say it's because to keep up with the high death rate. Okay, and also because you're in an agricultural lifestyle and you need lots of kids to work on a farm. Okay, also it's tradition. It's kind of what people have done for a long time. Right? 2 reasons that the death rates are high in phase 1. You can say a lack of sanitation, okay, access to things like clean water and food, okay, lack of sanitation. I'll put it down here. Okay, medicine. Sorry, I spelled that wrong. M-E-D-I-C-I. No, I spelled it right. Whew. So all of these things you're kind of lacking. So it's basically the opposite of why human population is increasing, because in phase 1 they kind of lack all of these things. So the overall growth of the human population it's low. Okay, it's ZPG, zero population growth right there. Okay, so that's our first phase. Now we're going to head back up and we're going to take a look at the transitional stage. So what happens here is our death rates, they drop, and they drop dramatically, okay? And they drop because now we have access to clean water, you have medicine, you have all of these things that come in this transitional phase, okay? Now, in contrast, you have your birth rates, they stay high, okay? Because people aren't used to having all of their kids survive. So then what happens here is you have this difference between your birth rate and your death rate right here, where your population explodes. So this is where you start seeing exponential growth. Okay. So let's head back down here. Nice. To phase 2. So crude birth rate is still high, but our crude death rate is decreasing. And it's decreasing pretty quickly, okay? So birth rates are still high because of this tradition, okay? Because you still have agriculture. And the thing is that you don't have that high death rate, but you still have the births to keep up with it because that culture hasn't changed. Okay, 2 reasons why the death rate starts dropping. Big thing is meds, access to vaccines, medicine, simple antibacterials. And you also have sanitation starting to come in. You have access now to clean water and to food, more and better food. And what happens is your death rates start dropping. And also in with this is your life expectancy increases as well. All right. So your overall growth of the population is exponential. All right. It starts growing like crazy. And this is the Industrial Revolution. All right. So going back up now. Let's just do that with this. In our industrial phase now, this is where, okay, your death rates still start coming down, and then they start leveling off. Your death rate here, or your birth rate, I'm sorry, starts coming down. It comes down, but it does not come down as quickly as the death rates do. So you still here have a huge amount of growth, but it's not as big as in this first section. So your human population is growing, but it's increasing slower. Okay. So if we go back down to phase 3 now, okay, our birth rate is declining. Okay, your death rate is still low, and the birth rate started declining for the number one reason that birth rates decline. Okay, education for women. Because what then happens is they have babies later in life. So they go to school. They marry later. You don't need to be married to have babies, but that's the kind of culture and tradition. Okay. So they go to school, they marry later. So if you're going to get married at 30 versus getting married at 20, but you're going to wait until you're married to have babies, you're going to have way less babies if you're starting at 30 because you've got from 30 to kind of like 45 to have babies. Versus if you're starting at 20 to 45, you can have a lot more babies. The big thing that comes in with education is family planning. Okay, this is access to birth control. This is learning about birth control in the first place. Okay, Goody was like, wait, whoa, I can take a pill and I won't get pregnant? Sign me up. Okay, so the death rates are still low for all of the same reasons why they were low in phase 2 and they started coming down. Okay, all of that medicine and vaccines and clean water, excuse me, and access to food. And your overall growth of the population is increasing, but it's not exponentially increasing. Okay. And then what happens here is in this last stage, your birth rates continue to come down. Okay. And then your death rates continue to stay low. And what happens is, okay, because I'm going to make this go right through here. Your population is increasing, but it's increasing very slowly, and it starts to level out. Okay. In human geography, there's a fifth stage, and that's with declining populations. The birth rates continue to come down, and a lot of times the birth rates are lower than the death rates. And so what ends up happening is, you get a declining population. Okay. So going back down here to stage 4, okay, or phase 4, whatever you want to say. Okay, so your crude birth rate is now declining even more. So it's continuing to decrease. Okay, so it's decreasing, and then it steadies off. Your death rate is still low, like it was before, and your overall growth of the population is slow growth. Okay, so a lesser developed country and a highly developed country. We're going to do that up here. Okay, so we're going to change this color here because I'm going to draw for you guys. Let's go purple. So phase 1, we're going to leave out phase 1 for a minute. Phase 2, this is your transitional. Okay, if we were to make these into our population pyramids, this one would look like this. Okay, you have a very wide bottom and a narrow top here. Okay, so this is your less developed or your developing country. Okay, and then here you have slow growth. So it's increasing, okay, but it's not increasing as fast. So this is going to be somewhere in the middle. And then your stage 4, your population pyramid is going to look more like a column. This is going to be your steady growth or your steady population. And this is your developed. Okay, your more developed countries. So this is your MDC, your more developed country, and your LDC, your less developed country. Stage 1, here's the thing, is if you look at it, their population's low, but their birth and their death rates are even. So what happens is you get basically a column-shaped pyramid again, but I don't want you to confuse it with this one. So we're going to kind of just cross that out there. Okay, so I know this kind of looks like scribble. The activity that you guys are going to do in class tomorrow will really kind of even this out for you guys. And let me just take you back down. Phase 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you have the lesser developed country and the more developed country. And then here's a really nice, pretty graph of your stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. And then here you go. You come down to stage 1 of why why stage 1 is the way it is. Stage 2, birth rates, death rates drop because of improved food production and health and medicine and stuff like that. And you can really see your population is steady. It goes up. It's exponentially growing through here, even though it doesn't so much look like it. And then it levels off in stage 4. It's still growing a bit in stage 3. Okay, so if you're a bit confused, tomorrow you should be less confused when it comes to this.